This is a presentation about planning for the Jericho Tennis Club. We've been using a piecemeal approach that is haphazard and has several weaknesses. One group may complete a project with no responsibility for planning the next project or solving issues raised by that particular project. Staff and member turnover also exacerbate this problem. Our planning principles are highest and best use, multi-purpose versus single use, our social context, which means the respect for our club culture, considering all programs and activities, and evaluating the impact on members. Aesthetics is critically important and trying to be consistent with the polymeric design, and of course this all has to be financially sound. The vision of our pool presented a deck above the pool with complete absence of vents. 3 years ago, concern was raised at the time about the highest and best use of our waterfront deck. The feeling was to complete the project as is and resolve this issue after completion. Examples of highest and best use. Our deck with a clear view of the sunset and the mountains is obviously highest and best use. A view of the tennis playing courts is highest and best use. And of course, storage on our decks is highest and best use. On the grassy knoll, if you look northward, highest and best use is the view of the mountains. Southward, it's looking at the third bubble vent, which is not highest and best use, obviously, and the aesthetics are incongruous with our polymeric design. If you compare the size of that with our court, with our vent at court 8, the size of the new vent and the court 8 vent are substantially different. The red outline shows the relative size of the court 8 vent compared to the new third bubble vent. Taking an overhead view, the green colored tint is a good indicator of highest and best use on our deck. If you look at the red areas, these are not highest and best use for our waterfront deck. There are 4 basic configurations for our new vent. One would be to reduce the size of the current vent up against the east wall. 2 would be to relocate it completely to the court 6 at the top of the screen. And a third is to extend the main deck level right through to the east fence. And finally, to take advantage of this large structure and establish an elevated viewing deck over the vent with extensions. All 4 scenarios create the possibility of moving the laundry vent to the east fence, opening space for an expanded women's locker room. The current women's locker room is west of the access door on the right, right behind that piece of concrete. The expansion would extend to the left of this door. The middle step must be excavated and replaced as part of a deficient installation. This would be the time to deal with the industrial stairwell. The stairwell can be covered at the same time to create deck and install an access door through the wall. For a hitting wall, there are 2 configurations that allow for this hitting wall. Multi-purpose, however, should take precedence over single use, and that can be accomplished by installing a ball curtain instead of wire mesh, similar to the ones between court 9 and 10. This would allow the same space to be used for both barbecues and special events. The end of trip or bike room has been studied for a number of years. However, there are no minutes, no records of the meetings that we've had so far, which create some challenges for accountability. Fortunately, I have attended all of these meetings from the discussion on Court 1, and I still think there should be at least 2 more that we should look at. We have a planning committee that is prepared to take a look at these 2 extra possibilities. So we've looked at 7, and I think there's a possibility of 9. I think we're premature in making a decision on our end of trip, and we should be reacting with awareness of all of the options available to us. Like Mick Jagger, I can't get no satisfaction. One of the options on our books is the connection between Court 1 and Court 12. This would increase our viewing and make it easier to move from Court 1 to Court 12. This is a no-brainer, and here's a better view of that particular piece of the property. Our northwest corner has a number of existing plans. One is to extend the games room, and there are several on the around the entrance. One is to relocate the balcony and create a rectangular social lounge. Also to expand the reception area on the main level. And there was a plan for an office space which needs to be reviewed and revised and updated to our current plans. There was also a plan to place storage right underneath this location, underneath the driveway. This is a possible location for the end of trip as well. If we look at the existing plan for storage, this is not highest and best use and conflicts with an end of trip plan for the exact same location. One positive attribute though of this end of trip is that the lockers connect directly within the clubhouse. So this is an opportunity to take a look at what could be a spectacular member-friendly beachfront and should be explored. And finally, our pier. I'm sure most people have never seen the old pier, but that's what it looked like many years ago. Right now, the attachment would be at the grassy area, which is just west of our hot tub. And the current plans so far have a cantilevered walkway, which would provide security for the float, and a platform partway out for members to lounge on the pier. The pier has been an outstanding issue for a number of years, and it's time to see if the members still want it. The length needs to be determined based upon review of our sedimentation. Our guide to planning is review all the scenarios, document and answer all questions, develop a sound financial model, solve existing problems, and communicate 2 ways. That's both speaking and listening. And finally, let the members decide. Simply put, the planning committee would be planning from concept to construction to keep a stable, informed membership. The projects under consideration would be the viewing deck, the end of trip, the Court 1 to 12 walkway, the northwest corner, and the pier. Why? These are cosmetic changes which would cost relatively little compared to how much we've already spent, and they need to be integrated into one comprehensive approach. I'm motivated, I'm experienced, I have the track record, I have the time, I have the vision, and I have a planning committee with the horsepower and creative juice to get the job done. This is an acronym. It doesn't mean Kitsilano, it means keep it tennis, sports fans. Let's improve the tennis experience with no more disruptions. And finally, I thought you would enjoy this 1926 photo. It has 12 contiguous courts, much the same as today, with a driveway down the west side, the same as today, and you can see a hitting wall in what was the same location. That's what we've done in 100 years. That's your club, put me in, coach.